Hello, welcome to Truly Tanai, where I offer a life-giving perspective to help you just get set free of the fear that tends to hold us down. Now, fear is such an interesting emotion because I believe it's not just an emotion, but a spiritual presence that can affect us. And it manifests in our life in so many different ways. Anxiety is the most common and overtly logical one. The fear of a certain future that someone projects or predicts that's going to be painful or harmful in some way to self or others. But there are so many different presentations or manifestations of fear in life. Another one that's not very commonly accepted, I believe, is allergies. It's body's fear response, essentially an immune system response to otherwise benign molecules like pet dander, like pollen from flowers, like dust, which is mostly shed, dry human skin. Seeing those benign things as a threat and then reacting in a way to try to protect oneself from a threat where there is none. Another one might be an autoimmune disease where fear presents itself by seeing the body itself as not self, and so attacking as if one part of our body is going to hurt another part of our body. Now, that's just some of the ways that fear can manifest within, but fear also manifests then at a larger scale in communities and in society. And you look at warfare is very much a fear response of at least one party against another, sometimes both parties. So fear is this spiritual presence that causes set of thoughts, whether conscious or subconscious, that then generates this cascade of biochemicals flooding our body, cortisol, fight or flight response, activating our nervous system in certain ways, and often bringing us back to our most vulnerable moments when we first experienced fears like that. There are lots of ways to overcome fear. Therapy is a good one. I've done over 20 different therapies to overcome my background of complex post-traumatic stress disorder. But there are also just sociological ways, which is sharing stories of overcoming fear, and also sharing life-giving perspectives that lead people to say no to fear-based thoughts, whether they are a recommendation from the media or even a habit that we adopted from our parents and we need to break in our adulthood. Life is hard enough without spending time fearing it. Before I had a measure of healing from fear, before I could step out of a fear-based perspective on everything and look upon myself and how I was thinking, I thought that fear was just a normal part of life. But as I began to gain victory over some of the things that would generate this fear response in my body, I realized that I could still respond to life-threatening situations in a way that protected and safeguarded my body, soul, which I believe is my mind and heart, my conscious and subconscious thoughts, or even my spirit, without generating that fear response, without activating the fight or flight, without doing the cortisol flood, getting ready to fend for my life. And that was an eye-opening experience. I'm like, oh, I can still have the benefit of self-protection in a healthy way without the crushing experience of being succumbed to the emotional experience of fear and the racing thought patterns of fear. I see that even in my small child now. I have a 3-year-old. She will often get surprised when I pull her back out of the road because a car is approaching. She can get surprised without going into then crying and fear response and shaking and all of those things. Now, if she does experience fear, we just go and comfort her. It's not a condemnation to say that it's bad to have a fear response. It's an invitation to say, do we need to have a fear response toward all the things that we regularly fear? What is the return on that investment of fear? Is it a positive return or a negative return? Where we put our money is where we expect a return when we get a return on investment. And where we put our thoughts and our habits and our emotions and our spiritual practices is where we can expect a return on those. Fear is worth inviting an awareness of and then questioning what the return of it really is. I invite you to come back next time and check out some other thoughts and musings on a life-giving perspective. Until then, I welcome your comments. What do you think you know about fear? What has been a benefit of the fear response for you in your life? And what has been a potential negative return on the fear response in your life?